Hello, everyone, and welcome to Caregiver Chronicles. My name is Sarah, and today I'm here with my husband, Jeremy.
Hello.
And today we have a different episode for you guys today. As many of you know, you follow us on social media. My grandmother passed away on June 11th, and so this week we are going to do a tribute to her.
Yes, she was a very, very sweet woman that would be everyone's grandmother. You didn't have a grandmother, she'd be your grandmother. She'd tell you that.
Yes.
And she was loving and kind and sweet, and you could not think of a better person. And so we're just giving a nice little tribute to her across all four of our podcasts.
Yes. This week we're going to just do tributes. We're going to talk about our favorite movie. We're going to talk about our favorite music. And
Remy's going to talk about watching NASCAR with her.
Yep, he's going to share his experience watching NASCAR with her. And in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Memere's life and Memere's passing, which I was very fortunate I was there for. So my grandmother struggled when she was young. She struggled with education, and she dropped out of school in the 6th grade. She would have probably, and my mom and I have had this discussion before, but she probably would have had a learning disability if they would have tested for it back then. However, she had things that she was really, really good at that weren't things you could learn in a textbook, like how to treat other people, how to be kind, how to love unconditionally. Memere had those things, and you just can't learn those skills. Nobody can teach you that. You either have it or you don't. And Memere had that.
Yes, she absolutely did. I don't know what else to say to add to that. Is she treated everyone how she wanted to be treated.
Exactly. And after she dropped out of school, she worked in a mill. And she worked in a mill for years and years and years. She wanted to become a nun. She met my grandfather and changed her mind about becoming a nun. And when she met my Pepe, they got married. They had 3 children. They lived in a house. They had a horse. She always wanted to go to Hawaii. Pepe got her to Hawaii. She always wanted a convertible. Pepe got her a convertible. As Memere and Pepe got older, my mom built an apartment onto her house for my grandparents. So I was very fortunate. I think I was about 16 years old. And I was either 16 or 17, and Memere and Pepe moved in with me. So even though they were a very prominent part of my life as a kid, I saw them often, and they were just always there for me. As an older teenager, they were there. And as I was starting my career in healthcare, Memere was one of my biggest supporters, and so was Pepe. She retired from working in the mill and, just kind of took care of my grandfather. She was a caregiver herself. My grandfather had dementia, and she took care of him. She had a little dog, Gigi. Remember Gigi?
I remember Gigi.
Oh, that dog.
She also took care of Remy, and first when we, when you went back to work, she babysat him for a while until it got to be too much.
Yeah, until she couldn't really do it anymore, and then we had to kind of have switch off shifts and stuff like that. But she did do that,
and eventually the roles were reversed, where Remy was taking care of her.
Yeah, they were. After my grandfather passed away, she started to go downhill a little bit. And then after Gigi was put down, she started to go downhill a little more. And after my uncle passed, the decline got pretty steep, I would say. Some of my best memories with her, like from later in life, is taking her and having her stay at our house, where she loved watching the robot vacuum. I'd tell her, I'd say, Mama, you're going to vacuum for me. And I'd put her feet up in the chair and turn on the Roomba, and she'd just sit in the chair and watch. I'd literally have Elvis on the TV, and she did not care about Elvis. She's like, I've seen him thousands of times. She's like, I've never seen a robot just clean a floor like this. And she would just sit there and watch the robot. Spending time with the boys, spending time with us. Last summer, we were able to go on a camping trip with her. That was our last vacation, which we kind of knew too. That was for my birthday. It was bittersweet because we knew it was kind of going to be like our last vacation with her. But at least we got it.
Yeah.
That
was one where Remy really showed a lot of maturity with her, because we were staying in a cabin, and he decided. Of course, she laid down on the hide-a-bed on the couch, and he laid down in the living room of the cabin with her, just in case she needed help, knowing that she was struggling. So, and rather than sleeping in a bed that was already designed for him, he went and stayed with her both nights. One night she slept in the hide-a-bed. The other night, because of her arthritis, she wanted to sleep in the recliner, sitting up, and then he laid on the couch right next to her. So if she needed help, he could come get us.
Yeah, and when she'd try to get up at night, Remy would come get us right away. He did. We took care of her. Jeremy, you spent a lot of time helping take care of my grandmother too. I know my mom was the primary caregiver. My mom did like the brunt of it, the hardest stuff. My mom took care of the financial stuff, the medical decisions, and the brunt of the care. But when my mom needed a break, when my mom would go away, I would help with Memere. And also, Jeremy, you did step up and you would be there for Memere too.
Yeah. I remember being the one who noticed that something was wrong cognitively towards their, because, she always repeated things. So, and then people close to her didn't notice that she was repeating things a lot more. And one time we were over there and she asked me the same question 6 times in 10 minutes. And I'm like, hey, there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, she's always been a little slow. And I was like this. She's like, no. And then I think when we went out for pizza, like 2 weeks later, you noticed the same thing finally. And I'm like, see, this is what I was talking about.
Yeah. I also noticed some personality changes with her around that time as well that were more red flags for me than forgetfulness and repeating. But I actually did a whole episode earlier on early onset or on early signs of Alzheimer's that you can go back and listen to, because a lot of that was what we were experiencing with Memere, was like she didn't want to do things she used to love to do. She'd think she'd recognize people she didn't know, things like that. But we just let it, we took care of her. We were there for her, but we still took her places. We still did things. The pandemic definitely did not help her with the dementia. That definitely made the decline worse too.
It sped up everything.
Yeah. I know during that time my mom was able to get home care eventually for Memere, and then she also had me, my sister, and a family friend working together. The family friend took 3 days, my sister took a day, and I took a day, where we would spend with Memere helping her, just till my mom couldn't do it anymore. We also have an episode where we talk about, a past episode where my mom comes on and talks about putting Memere in a nursing home and what all led up to that. So I encourage you to listen to that, because I just don't have time to get into all the backstories, right? Like we don't
have time this week to come do that. But yeah, check out that previous episode.
Yeah. So she was in the nursing home, and it was really hard to go visit her because of COVID. Her last few months there was a little while we could not see her at all. And then they let visitors in, but it had to be in a certain area and scheduled. And then they had just started in-room visits a little while later where we could hold her hand and sit with her. And as it got closer and closer to the end, I tried to make it a point to be there a little more in the nursing home. So her final day, I was actually working, and I had a feeling it was going to be this past Friday. I really knew. I don't know why. I just knew all week that it was going to be that. And we were told by the hospice nurse that day that she was still hanging on. So her final weeks, they discovered, in addition to dementia, they discovered that she had kidney failure. and her kidney failure was kind of in a more severe form. It was stage 4, close to stage 5. At the point she was at with her dementia, where she couldn't talk anymore, she was starting to really not be able to walk. She was falling a lot. My mom decided it best not to pursue treatment, which I backed my mom 100% on. My aunt and my sister, we all talked about it. We all backed my mom 100% on this. So at that point, we put her on hospice to keep her comfortable. She was on hospice for a little over a month, maybe 2 months. Between 1 and 2 months, she was on hospice. And probably about a week and a half. It was the Wednesday of the week before she passed that she had stopped eating, and hospice decided to stop all of her medications other than medications to keep her comfortable, such as morphine and Ativan. So at that point, that was all she was on, was morphine, Ativan, and then I believe it just a stool softener for comfort. So my mom and my aunt were checking in on her almost every day. I would go there when I could. I know my sister went there. My great aunt tried to go a couple times. I saw her there one day. And her final week, I just remember really thinking, I know that this is going to happen soon. My boss told me I was going to be in charge Friday at work, and my brain automatically went to, I don't think I'm going to make it here tomorrow. Like, I think I'm going to have a more important day than work, which my instinct was right on that. So I got the message from my aunt that Meme had taken a turn. My aunt was actually with her when it happened, that she had taken a turn to be less stable Friday afternoon. It was around, what was it, around like 6 o'clock when I called you and told you I was leaving work. Yeah. My coworker stepped up and helped me out so I could be there. I left. I got there, I don't even think it's a half hour away.
No. I think it's a 15-minute drive from your work to that nursing home. It's only like one turn. They're almost on the same road.
Yeah. So I got there and my aunt was there. They had my grandmother moved to a private room. They would allow 3 people in there. My mom, unfortunately, was away and it was just impossible for her to make it in time. So she stayed where she was and was on FaceTime with me. My aunt and my sister got there as well. Me, my aunt, and my sister were holding on to Meme when she passed. We had her favorite music. Her favorite music was Elvis. We had some flowers around her. We had pictures of my grandfather and my uncle who had passed, before her. And we were so fortunate we got to say goodbye and be there for her during probably the most important transition in her life, or second most important transition in her life. It was a pretty peaceful passing. She passed away at 8:10. Was the time the nurse pronounced her. I think it was actually a few minutes before that she actually passed. My aunt did not want me to call the nurses in because she thought they were going to kick us out. And I was like, no, you just have to be quiet so they can listen. But she was pronounced at 8:10. So she really, when she took that final turn, it wasn't very long. She wasn't holding on forever. It was peaceful. We were all there and it was very peaceful. So, after my aunt and my sister left, I had a few minutes alone with Meme. I cried a little bit, and then I called the nurses in and I helped do her postmortem care, her after-death care. My last image of her, she was very peaceful. She looked like she was sleeping. We pulled the sheet up over her. I kissed her forehead, and I said, goodbye, Meme. And, that was it. I knew I would never see her again. And it hurt my heart to know that. But at the same time, seeing how she was just days before that, it was almost like, it was like a sense of like peace, like relief. She was so sick and suffering so bad. So I'm just grateful she had a very peaceful passing. I'm very grateful that my family was able to all be there in their way. Like, my mom was able to be there on FaceTime. it's honestly, if I could pick a way to go, that's how I would want to go, surrounded by family and pictures and my favorite music. And, I know she was comfortable at that time. And just being given the opportunity to say goodbye is so important in this process. It can be so important for a caregiver. So, Jeremy, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, like I said earlier, Memere, if you didn't have a grandmother, she would be your grandmother. She let you know she would be your grandmother too. And that's kind of what happened there. My grandparents all passed away when I was young. My grandmother on my mother's side died when I was 6. My grandmother on my father's side died when I was 13. So I hadn't had my grandmothers in a while. And then I meet Sarah, go over, and like the first night, both of her grandparents are like, bring me in. They're like, you're our grandchild now.
Yeah, like in your face, like.
Yeah. And so for the past 12 years, I got to have a third grandmother. So, I got to feel like what it was like to have a grandmother again, which was a wonderful feeling and something I'd missed. And I greatly appreciate it. And, I'm going to miss her. We're all going to miss her. But, I'm very grateful for that she gave me that a lot of people have their grandparents into their 20s, some even in their 30s. Mine were all gone. Like I said, when my grandmother died when I was 13, that was my last grandparent left. So I had lost all of them by 13. So she gave me a grandparent, which I hadn't had in a while. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And I'm lucky. Like, I'm 35 years old. I just lost my last biological grandparent, but I still have a grandparent left. I still have Nana, who
also treats me like her grandson.
She doesn't. It doesn't matter that she's not my biological grandmother. She still loves me, and I love her very much. I'm very proud of her, and just very proud to be part of her family too. But this is more about my Memere, and I'm just, I've been thinking all week about Memere, and I know I lost a lot in losing her, but at the same time, she was so sick that I'm just very much at peace with it. And I know she would never have wanted to suffer the way she did. So that's why we're, doing these tributes across all of our podcasts. We really want to share this with her, and, as much of a part of inspiration as she was for all aspects of my life, I just think it's the best way we can honor her. So that's what we're doing this week on all of the With My Wife podcasts. Oh yeah, this week, also another thing, and this is actually kind of an exciting thing. So this week, Caregiver Chronicles hit 2,000 plays, and I was very excited about this when I saw it. And I actually reached out to my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I know, we're going through a period of mourning right now, but this happened. Caregiver Chronicles hit 2,000 plays. And my mom was like, Sarah, she was like, you need to celebrate. Memere would be so proud of you right now. And I know in my heart she would be. I know in my heart she is. And she was just the sweetest person. And I know she wouldn't want me to be sad. I know she would want me to be happy. She would probably try to sing to me or something like that, or make a silly face at me to make me laugh if she knew I was sad. And that's just how she was. She was just the sweetest, kindest person. She really taught me unconditional love, and she lived that way.
Yeah.
And, God bless Memere. And I'm going to do a quick moment of silence for my Memere, and it'll be up to you to reflect, say a prayer, or whatever it is that you do. Send love, good vibes, whatever. So we're going to pause for a minute. And with that, we just want to say, Memere, rest in peace. Enjoy heaven. I'm glad that you're there. Give Pepe and Uncle Roland big hugs from me. watch over the boys. And I also want to thank everybody for listening. Just thank you so much for listening to our listeners. You guys mean a lot to us, and to share our story is such a big thing. And to be able to do this tribute is just, it's so important to me and so special to me. So thank you all for listening, especially to this week's episode. Jeremy, do you want to add anything?
Just as we said, we'll be honoring Memere across our podcast on Racing with Remy. Remy, after he recaps races, is going to be talking about spending time watching NASCAR with Memere. Anytime he stayed over, he would get up in the morning and put a race on and sit down and watch with her. I watched it with my wife. We reviewed her favorite movie, The Sound of Music. And on I Listen with my wife, we're going to review her favorite musical artist, Elvis Presley. So yeah, it's a whole week of podcast dedicated to Memere.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.